Hello viewers, thank you for joining me today. One of my viewers has written asking me to speak about the barriers of communication among different generations, how they can be dealt with. Although she did not say so, it may be that she, similar with hundreds and thousands of other families, is experiencing the wrath of the generation gap. I'm here today to present my opinion for what it is worth on this touchy topic.
Hello Saturn, can you please explain what is a generation?
A generation is a period of time that it takes for children to grow up and become adults and have children of their own. It is actually a vague term, but a generation is generally considered to be about 15 to 20 years. Baby boomers, almost exactly 9 months after World War II ended, the cry of babies was heard across the land, as a historian once described the trend, hence the expression baby boomers. More babies were born in 1946 than ever before, and this occurrence increased steadily every year from 1954 until 1964, when the boom finally tapered off. Myself, viewers, I am from this old school. I am a baby boomer. Generation X, or Gen X for short. This is the demographic group following the baby boomers and preceding the millennials. Researchers generally define this generation as people born from 1965 to 1980. Generation Y. The term millennials generally refers to the generation of people born between 1981 to 1996. Most millennials are the children of baby boomers and early Gen X's. This is the group of people who have been the most influenced by the internet. From meeting and talking to various families, it is my opinion that the largest gap occurs between the baby boomers and the millennials. This is followed closely between the Gen X and the millennials. This gap initially was thought to occur predominantly in the Western culture, but as technologies and consequently economies improved, with Asians becoming more affluent, this gap now also occurs in the Eastern culture.
Some people say the generation gap is a myth. What is your opinion on that?
The generation gap is not a myth. It is definitely a reality. It is felt in the real world when there is a clash between old and new ideas. It's well known that new times demand new ways of thinking. And new ways of thinking demand new ways of acting. And new ways of acting arouse misunderstandings on the part of the older generation. People usually tend to be used to certain things, and some changes, some even very small, insignificant change can frighten them. Some parents want their children to feel, not face the hardships that they had gone through in their childhood and youth. But the children don't take a look back into the bygone years of the parents. They just want to go with the wind and embrace the so-called modern culture. Here lies the generation gap.
What is the cause of it? Do we blame the parents, the children, or something else?
The generation gap is not to be blamed on anyone. It is the function of normal social change. Change is that process that constantly upsets and resets the terms of everyone's existence all their lives. Cultural differences between generations are emphasized when parents identify with the old, the similar, the familiar, the traditional, while the adolescent becomes fascinated with the new, with the different, with the experimental and the unknown. In most cases, the parents are culturally anchored in an earlier time and the adolescent in a later time. To some degree, social change culturally differentiates the generation. That's life. That's how life is. Obviously, in socially simpler, stable, low change cultures where the young identify with the parental roles they expect to imitate when they grow up, there's very little generation gap. Compare this with the growing up very complex, rapidly changing culture where the old world of the parents stand in marked contrast to that of the adolescent. This may be the reason the problems between the generations most likely occurs between the baby boomers and the millennials. Big gap. For example, parents grew up before the internet revolution in one world of experience only, offline. However, the adolescent is growing up in two worlds, offline and online. Thus, a profound generation gap can be created, even though parents have acquired online skills in their adulthood, like I have. Another cause of the gap is opportunities. Never before in the history of the world has there been an abundance of opportunities as those that emerged during the 1980s and especially in the 1990s. Opportunities have allowed and even encouraged the millennials to be more independent and different.
What should a teenager do when they feel that parents don't understand them? I mean, is there a way to minimize the effect of the generation gap?
Definitely there is, with understanding and communication. When a teenager feels that the parents don't understand them, they should communicate. They should talk. Communication, genuine and honest discussion is the only way to overcome this problem. Remember, arguing gets you nowhere. Plus, you're guaranteed to lose. The secret is to talk it out with your parents, and you will realize that you will almost always meet each other in the middle so that all are satisfied. So it's a win-win situation then. The secret of maintaining a relationship in a family or in a marriage or among friends is the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from your own. Because 9 times out of 10, an argument ends with each of the contestants more firmly convinced than the other that he is right. Parents should understand that the teenager is at a stage where he or she is breaking free from childhood, for more freedom of action, of independence, more freedom of personal expression and individuality. When young people feel that their parents don't understand them and would like them to, they can take the initiative. Being brave, they can say to their parents, look, there is something about my growing up that I believe that you do not understand, and I would like you to appreciate it. Could you please listen while I try to explain, and then we can talk, because this is important to me.
What can adolescents do to make the parents understand?
If you have a legitimate point to make, your parents might be willing to listen to you and hear you out. The secret to success is how you present your case. The following steps will help you to do so more effectively. Number 1, identify the problem. Write it down. Write the issue that you and your parents can't seem to agree on. Number 2, identify the feeling. Write the word that describes how your parents stand on the issue makes you feel, whether it's hurt, it's sad, embarrassed, distrusted, or others. Number 3, think like a parent. Imagine that you have a teenager who is facing the same issue that you are. Assuming the role of parent, describe how your stand on the issue makes them feel. Thinking as a parent, what would be your biggest concern and why? Number 4, reassess the issue. Answer the following questions. A, what merit can you see in your parents' point of view? And B, what can you do to address their concerns? And finally, 5, discuss the matter with your parents and brainstorm for solutions. By applying the steps that I've mentioned, you will find that you can communicate with your parents at a more matured level. Now, it is hoped that this talk would have provided my viewers with some insight on the topic and that some benefit would have been achieved. Please do contact me if you have any subject matter that you wish me to talk on, and I will do my best to oblige. And so until the next time, this is your humble rag picker, Satin Walia, signing off.